members had another big week.
Big T kicked things off in the MLB streets with an 80K night and was joined by RPS member Punisher, who also shipped for 50K. Hoop added a 75K MLB hit of his own a couple days later, and Steve Boynton hit for 36K in NBA Showdown. Rumpier Sports member Simo shipped for 100K, and yet another RPS member had a monster hit when TYA558 became the latest to win a PGA Millie Maker. If you haven't signed up for Rumpier Sports Premium membership yet, now is the time to get in using the promo code RPSHeater25 for 25% off of your first payment on a monthly or weekly plan, not including SaberSim.
Last week was another huge week for the K-Cast, making it 7 of the last 8 weeks that the live show ended in profit.
Rocking up over 30 units between UFC and NASCAR this weekend, Keg and his crew proved there isn't a more profitable in-game betting show on the internet.
Make sure to join Keg and get 20 hours of live betting winners each week for only $10 a week.
Finally, NFL Best Ball is in full swing over on Underdog, and you can get a deposit match up to $100 by using the promo code RUNPURE.
We'll be creating Best Ball contests all summer long, so make sure you subscribe to our Run Pure Sports YouTube channel to catch all of our free videos and keep running pure.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rumpier Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. We're here breaking down massive 15-game slate. It's been a while, I think, since there's been a 15-game slate on the MLB docket, and that's what we have tonight. No weather concerns, so we're good to go. But yeah, it's a fully loaded slate, like I said, so we'll be moving relatively quickly today to get through everything. Have a feeling, though, that we're going to be talking about one specific team, those Atlanta Braves, because I'm surrounded by two guys that love themselves some Atlanta Braves. My guy Gary, my guy JT. We go to you first, Gary. How are you doing? And just some overall initial thoughts here on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, massive slate. When I wrote the playbook today, I pulled it up. I'm like, man, when is the last time we had a 15-gamer? I think we've only had one other on the season. But I think I have a pretty good understanding of the slate. I think it's pretty cut and dry for me. Always, when I get on a show with JT, he always throws a curveball. And what I think of the slate. So definitely looking forward to it here. And y'all are going to have to see whether I'm on the Braves or not later on.
Can't wait to see. I wish I would have listened to JT a little bit more yesterday. We were on the show and we talked about the Pilkington guy for the Cleveland baseball team. And I was on him and the results were not great, but it was kind of ironic because my best team did have him because it was a Yankee stack and I needed that little bit of savings. We talked about it on the show. I was like, if I get the stack that I want, I'm willing to play Pilkington. Played Pilkington, I think, on one out of my, I think I had 10 to 12 teams. I played Pilkington on one or two, but the best team was the Yankees, which did include the Rich Parents Play of the Day, Joey Gallo. So a little good, a little bad. If we would have put our heads together, we could have come up with the winner, but it's the beauty of the DFS sport. You move on to the next day. JT, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, it's going good. We were talking before the show that I think we all ended up a little bit underweight on Garrett Cole and went mostly Ohtani and Pivetta. But where I stacked the Twins, just on the off chance, just because that line was moving up last night, I didn't have the Yankees with them. And, of course, it's guys like Gallo and Hicks that we kind of sworn off because they hadn't done anything. And in the back of my head, I'm like, but who played some? I should play some. And I didn't end up on him. So it wasn't a terrible night, but it wasn't a great night. And it's always good on these Fridays to get in here, talk about these plays. Like you said, it's been a long, long time since we've seen, I think this may be the second, or if not the second, the first 15-gamer on a Friday night this season. And so many ways to be different. So many people are going to make some pretty easy mistakes to avoid. So excited to talk it through.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, obviously, when you're talking a 15-game slate, and for me personally, ownership kind of goes out the window. And today specifically, I don't think there's anything like that's going to be, mega owned. I think we see a lot of offenses spread out. Pitcher, I think you could see some relatively popular plays at pitcher, but, we always talk about it on here. And for me specifically, I just really don't care about ownership at pitcher. I'm just playing my guys. So we'll get into it all. We're going to have to move relatively quickly to get through everything. Got 15 games. Like I said, that means a lot of pitchers, a lot of offenses to discuss. A couple things before we get into it. Obviously, we appreciate it if you hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. Helps us to continue to bring you guys these videos for free on a daily basis. So do us that favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you're not a member, head on over to Run Pure Sports, check it out. All sports included for one price. You can use the promo code RPS Heater 25. That gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. We have DFS coverage, we have bets coverage, and we have the partnership with SaberSim if you're looking to try out a new optimizer, and theirs is absolutely phenomenal. So let's go ahead, hop into it. We'll talk pitcher and a lot of pitchers here because, well, we have 15 games. So we'll start in this upper tier, go from Blackburn all the way up to Musgrove. And I'll just toss it over to you, Gary. Give me your thoughts here in this upper tier on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's pretty clear to me. I mean, Joe Musgrove is 10.5. He is definitely my favorite pitcher on the slate. I mean, this guy has been a model consistency throughout the year. I think he has a quality start in every start this season. He gets the Colorado Rockies here at home. We always like to target the Rockies when they're away from Coors Field. His projection is fair. I think it's the highest on the slate, for good reason. I think he has upside. I'm going to take the safety here, and he has upside for 30. He could get a complete game shutout here. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm seeing 26% ownership on him, but like you said, I'm willing to pay that price and pay that ownership on him. He's just the safest play on the board, in my opinion. And going down, I think Severino is. I think Severino is bad chalk on this slate. I know he's 10.3K. His strikeout rate is up a little bit. He's coming off that huge start against Detroit, though, 38 DraftKings points. Chicago over the last couple of weeks has not been striking out versus right-handed pitching. They're bottom 2 in strikeout rate, top 6 in WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers. So I will not have any Severino tonight, and really, I don't have any interest in any of these guys going down to probably about Tristan McKenzie, 8,800. He gets the great matchup here in Oakland. I never get this guy right, but he's probably 3rd or 4th on my pecking order of pitcher today. I just like the matchup a ton. His strikeout potential is there in this matchup. And then going down to Aaron Ashby. This is a guy I also never get right. He's 8,600. He's got a decent matchup here on paper against Washington, but they don't really strike out a ton. I mean, Ashby's been really, really good this season. I am a little bit concerned about Alfonso Marquez as the ump behind the plate for him, as he does have problems issuing walks to batters. So I don't know if I'm going to have Ashby. I think I'd rather go to McKenzie here. And then really, that's really it for me above 8,100. As crazy as that sounds.
Oh, we're kind of in lockstep. I'm with you. I'm on the basically the same dudes. Like Musgrove for sure. If salary is not an issue, like Musgrove is the guy for me. A little bit higher in Severino, but the problem is I don't think there's many lineups where you go Musgrove and Severino together. Like I just don't think that's necessary on the slate, and we have offenses to pay out for. So yeah, it's definitely Musgrove over Severino for me. I agree with you on McKenzie. I do really like him, and in this upper range, I'm with you. That's probably just about it for me. JT, do you agree with us, or are you kind of seeing it a little different up here?
No, in that range, I've got Musgrove as a guy that I'm probably going to come close to locking in here on this slate. And I'm going to pass on Severino just because of the way the Cubs have been hitting and the price point. Like you said, Hoop, you're going at that price range, you're picking one. And I'm not going to get, too different and try and jam in Severino where I don't have Musgrove. I'm just going to go with Musgrove. I like McKenzie. I keep, Gary and I were on a show a couple of Sundays ago, and McKenzie smashed, and I was concerned about his batted ball in play average against. It's now 0.75 in his last 3 or 4 starts, but he gets the A's, and there's no one outside of the great Christian Bethancourt, who was the only fucking A who did anything yesterday, that really is concerning in this lineup. So I have to say that I like McKenzie here. I'm a little bit higher on Ashby, especially if Nelson Cruz is out of the lineup again, just because it's really two guys in the Washington lineup. It's Lane Thomas and Juan Soto are the only guys who've been hitting the ball lately. So I like Lane Thomas as a little bit of a one-off, but I like Ashby a bit here. I wouldn't mind playing him. And then in that range, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, let's travel down and hit up some of these cheaper guys. We'll go from, I'll be from the Smelter dude all the way down to, I don't know, there's a few 4K guys down here that I have no idea, who the hell they are. So Gary, toss it to you. Talk to me about this lower range 8K and below.
Yeah, so I think I pretty much explained it in the playbook as well. Spencer Strider is probably going to be my highest owned guy tonight. Just 7K. He's got the highest strikeout rate on the slate by 6%. He's got the lowest Sierra on the slate as well. He does have some issues issuing walks, so that is a little concerning. He's got Larry Vanover behind the plate, who is a really good pitcher's umpire that could help him out here too. So yeah, I'm going to be way overweight on Spencer Strider. Another guy that I'm going to just take the wait and see approach is that in that same game, Roansy Contreras. This kid is going to be a stud. The projections do not like him at all. Vegas does not like him at all today. I'm going to stay away from him in this spot, but it's definitely somebody to keep an eye on in his next start. Jose Barrios, I'm seeing as going to be chalk today. He gets the other coveted matchup in the Detroit Tigers. I can't do it. I'm not going to be playing any Jose Barrios. He's got some of the worst metrics on the slate. I get that it's Detroit, but this might be a situation where I'm just going to pass on both the pitcher, who is chalk, who is really bad, and a bad offense here. Don't have any interest there. I'm seeing Kyle Gibson. His projection is showing to be pretty good throughout the industry. I can never play that guy either. So I mean, going down here, I mean, man, there's literally no one else. My pitcher pool today is really tight. And I think it's just the guys that I mentioned up top and Spencer Strider for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, once you get lower, it's very difficult. I don't think I'm really going to be going below Strider all that much at 7K. I don't think you need to. I mean, we have 15 games. You're going to be able to find some cheap bats to stay a little higher in this pricing spectrum. So under Strider, I don't have much interest. The one area I will disagree is I do like Barrios a little more than you at 7.5. I'm fine in some of these lineups where you can, really load up the offenses, just going like Strider and Barrios. And I'm also okay, I think, going Gibson here too. What you're banking on is a guy like Musgrove not going out and getting 35. You need Musgrove to get like 22, 23, 24 fantasy points for like guys like Barrios and Gibson to be the right play. But I will have those guys in my pool, but I'm not stretching it out, much more to anyone below Strider today. I think he is a phenomenal play. He will be highly owned, but man, the stuff's just too good to pass up. The price is too good to pass up. JT, thoughts on Strider and then anyone else in this lower tier?
Yeah, I mean, so I was telling you guys, I'm going to be at the game. The thing with Strider here is he's an exceptional talent, and my concern is length. 4 innings, 4 1/3 innings, 12 points, 14 points. I think we look at the Pirates and we say, all right, this is an easy matchup. It really hasn't been such an easy matchup of late, and that's the only concern here is the price is right, the stuff is right, the matchup is fine, but he hasn't gotten into the 5th inning. And like you mentioned, we're talking about it, it's a 15-game slate. There's going to be 3 or 4 pitchers that get into the 5th, 6th inning or deeper. Spencer Strider is not going to be one of those guys. It's just not going to happen, regardless of how well he pitches. So that's the thing for me that I'm a little bit stuck on. I am on your side here in the Barrios camp. I see the same things that Gary's talking about, hard hit rate, all of those things, and they are concerning. But Detroit put Daz Cameron on the injured list. It sounds crazy to say, but Daz Cameron was the only Tiger that was hitting the ball. So now you've just got a lineup that is absolutely terrible. Toronto's a -220 favorite on the road. Barrios is coming off a game where he got right against the Twins, who've been smashing. So, I don't know how much of him I'll have, but I will have some of him. And then one guy I didn't mention in the upper range that I'm mildly interested in, just because it seems like he's found the version of himself that was the version that we saw 3 years ago when this guy first came up, is Luis Castillo on the road in St. Louis. He's only 8.5. St. Louis has cooled off considerably, and this is a total that's under 8 and looks to be a low scoring game there. And I think Luis Castillo at somewhat lower ownership could get you to 20, 24 points here if he goes well, and he can get into the 7th or 8th inning as we've seen so far this season. So no disagreement on the talent of Spencer Strider or any of those things. It's more along the lines of, on a 15-game slate, what's the ceiling there, and is he going to get beat by a lot of these other guys? And that's going to leave me a little bit shorthanded.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a one-pitcher site like FanDuel, like if you're playing Strider, you need your offenses to produce. I mean, you need the big bats to produce, because that's what you're going for. When you play him, he's 7.2K. You can get any bat you want on the slate. You can get combinations of any bats. You can get 3 of the 4 most expensive guys on the slate. You need the offenses to produce, and that's what it's going to come down to tonight, especially on FanDuel. On DraftKings, it's a little bit different, obviously, with the 2 pitchers where you can easily play Strider and a guy like Musgrove. But if you're playing him on FanDuel on that one pitcher site, just know what you're getting yourself into, because he's not going to go very deep into the game. It's not likely that he goes out there and puts up a 50 fantasy point game, where it is probably likely that at least one pitcher on the slate will do that. So he's a phenomenal play. I'm playing him at a very high rate. The stuff is way too good. The matchup is obviously very good. You'd just like him to get through that 5th inning, and you potentially pick up the win and whatnot. So very strong play tonight. Obviously, he's going to be owned. I mean, he has the stuff. People know about it. He's projecting well on all the sites. So Gary, any final thoughts here at the pitcher position before we dive in and talk about some offenses?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, my pool's pretty tight here with Musgrove and Strider leading the way. And then McKenzie mixing him in a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to be on FanDuel, though. I don't know. I haven't really figured out where I'm going on FanDuel. I definitely will not be playing Strider on FanDuel, because I love that quality start on FanDuel. I might just lock in Musgrove on that site.
Yeah, good strategy over there. JT got about 400 to watch and actually 142 likes, which is not all that bad. Friday night is a very important night for you and I. We get to hop on that private jet, the Air France flight, and head over to Paris for the Eiffel Tower. So what do we need in terms of likes to get there tonight?
Yeah, I popped in the chat and I said, listen, if we don't have to mention it more than once, then maybe we'll give out 2 plays a piece. And I think that's fair. 144, 396. We got to get to 300. We got to 300 yesterday. We got there. Our guy Steve Boynton and Uncle T are in chat. And ceiling when Strider strikes out 9 in 5 innings. Sure. Again, I'm not arguing the stuff. If he's flawless, it's going to be great. The issue is you don't see why he can't go deep. Well, you're not Brian Snitker, though. And they haven't pushed this guy. That's really the only point I'm making. I don't know if I'm going to play him or not. At 30% ownership on a 15-game slate, I don't know. I do think Barrios and McKenzie have a little bit better chance to go much longer in their games. So if I can find a cheap bat and get up to those guys, pair him with Musgrove, that's probably the route I'm going to go. But I hope he does well, because like I said, I'm going to be there. So I only want to catch home runs from the Braves tonight.
Strider and Braves stack for the win tonight. You're going to love to see it. JT will be at the top. Yeah, so let's get those likes up. I had a guy on Twitter hit me up. He's like, hey, Hoop, man, like you always sit there and ask for likes, but you don't understand, man. A lot of people watch this on playback and aren't watching it live. In response to that guy, because I did not respond to him on Twitter, there's literally a little thing right under the video that says how many people are watching right now. And that's the number of people that are watching right now. And that's where we base our numbers off of. So if that guy is watching right now, because he claims that a lot of people don't watch it live and watch it on playback, and it makes it impossible to get to the number, that's bullshit. We see the number. JT threw out 300, and I'm not asking anymore. I know I've been a pest and have threatened things. It's 300. If we get to the final game, we're not at 300. That's it. If we do get to 300, we're each going to give out 2 plays of the day. And the play of the day, Rich Parents' play of the day yesterday was Joey Gallo, who hit 2 home runs. So Yeah, huge difference. So you're gonna want to get the plays of the day. So let's move in and talk some offense. First game on the slate, we got the Brewers, we got the Nationals, a total of 8. Team total for the Brewers about 4 3/4. Team total for the Nationals a little bit below 3.5. The one thing that stands out to me in this game is the price tags on the Brewers. Very, very cheap. I mean, very cheap. You got my boy Tellez, 3.6K. That gets me excited. And that gets me very excited. So I'll be on him. You got 2 shortstops, Adames and then Urias batting 4th, 3.4K. Andrew McCutchen, 3.1. Jace Peterson, 2.4K. Just a very, very cheap team. So that does interest me quite a bit. And then on the national side, I'm not going to be playing any Nationals today. I do have some interest in Ashby. So like the Brewers a lot, no Nats. JT, thoughts here?
Yeah, I think there are some. You mentioned the price tags on the Brewers. Interesting. I mean, Eric Fetty's gotten beat up his last couple of games. He's back home now. I'm not real sure on the Brewers if I'm going to have any here. I agree that it's a good spot, especially with Washington's bullpen. Like you, I have interest in Ashby. I do have some interest in this kid Lane Thomas as a one-off, just because he's been on fire. He's got the highest ISO, the highest weighted on base average of anybody on the Nationals. And I'll definitely be a lot more interested in Ashby if Nelson Cruz is out of the lineup. So it's a good chance he is going to be out, I think, because he was a scratch right like 5 minutes before game time. Another one of these things last night.
Gary, thoughts here on the Brewers and Nats bats?
Yeah, so I think Milwaukee will probably be one of the higher owned stacks, I would think, just due to the pricing and the nature of the pitching today. They're really, really cheap. I like the bottom of the lineup here. I like Hunter Renfroe. He was on fire before he went on the injured list. He's hitting well again, coming off the injured list. He's only 3,800. Omar Narvaez is back in the lineup, batting 8th here. Like him as a catcher option. And then Tyrone Taylor, I know he's cooled off a little bit, but he's 3,300. I think I like the bottom of the lineup here a little bit better than the top, and probably get an ownership discount on them as well. And yeah, I'm not going to play much Ashby, but I'm not going to pick on him either. So no Nats for me.
Yeah, bottom of the Brewers will be very low. I mean, it's just easy to play the top, so it's definitely a quick way to differentiate. And there's upside down there. I mean, sometimes we talk about lineups that you can go to the bottom with. Some we say don't go there. This one you can go to. You got Renfroe, overpriced catcher with upside, and then Tyrone Taylor. JT's boys. So let's move on to the next game. We got the Diamondbacks. We got the Phillies, 8.5 total in this game, 4.5 team total for the Phillies, about 4 for the Diamondbacks. I'm on Gibson a little bit, not really going to be on the Diamondbacks, but in terms of the Phillies, the one thing that stands out, Kyle Schwarber, cheap, 4.3K. I think he's fine. I just don't know how much interest I have in fully stacking the Phillies here. We'll go to you, JT. Thoughts on D-backs and Phillies bats?
Yeah, this is just anecdotal, but it feels to me like on these huge Friday night slates, it's this fucking stadium that breaks the slate early. And I've seen it, I don't know how many times. Zach Gallen is too expensive here. Gallen started off the year pretty well. He's pitched like shit lately. He's got one of the lowest BABIPs against on this slate. And Philly's been the hottest team from the left side of the slate, left side of the plate in baseball. I do have a lot of interest in Philadelphia here. Schwarber, Harper, Stott. Those are my 3 main guys that I'm going to be interested in from this team. Looking up and down. Actually, no, there's 2 more, DDN, Odubel. So I think you can make a nice 5-man with all these lefties. If you wanted to take one of those guys out and go Garrett Stubbs, a lefty catcher, stone minimum price here, 2K. Once you get past Gallen, let's say they get to Gallen. Let's say we're right. They get to Gallen early. He's out of the game. The bullpen sucks for Arizona. Nice night in Philadelphia. Slate could be broken here by this stadium.
Gary, what do you got here?
Yeah, so I've been talking to Steve Boynton all day about this. Steve Boynton's been riding these Phillies for about a week now. I think he hopped off last night. I think he's trying to convince me to hop on. I think at this point, I just need to stay off. I believe in the talent of Gallen. Everything that JT said, though, I'm definitely a firm believer in hot streaks. This team has been hitting really well lately. I guess I don't mind going to like a Odubel Herrera. He's 2,200, batting 6th. He won't have much ownership at all. I like the cheaper guys. I don't think I'm going to be stacking it up Maybe more, maybe a one-off here and there, maybe a two-man, and definitely no Arizona for me.
Yeah, the Phillies for me probably more like mini stacks, like Schwarber, Harper. You can throw in Didi, I guess, to fill the shortstop position, but I don't think I'm going to be full stacking. Next game, got the Cubs, we got the Yankees. Total in this one sitting at 9. Most of that is on the Yankees side. Their team total is above 5.5. Not much, obviously, on the Cubs side. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing the Yankees. I mean, Judge just missed a home run by, I think it was like a matter of inches. Hit a double. It was like literally very close to going over. Donaldson, I think, is in a good spot. Cheap on FanDuel, 2.9K. Stanton back in the lineup. He is expensive, 6K. I think that should keep his ownership down. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be in on the Yankees today. They are expensive though. I mean, you're paying a big time premium for these Yankees bats, but I'm willing to do it tonight. Gary, thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong with the Yankees, but man, on DraftKings, they are priced to the gills. Yeah. I mean, everybody. I mean, you got LeMahieu 4,700, Judge 6,300, Rizzo's over 5K, Stanton 6K, Donaldson 52. I mean, man, you're going to have to make some decisions here on your pitching. You're going to have to sacrifice maybe a Musgrove to fit this stack in. But yeah, can never go wrong. Wade Miley he's old, he's washed, I think. So yeah, I definitely have some interest here. Not a main team for me, not my favorite team by any means, but always in play. And no Chicago for me.
JT, thoughts here on the Yankees and Cubs bats?
Yeah, I mean, Yankees here. Aaron Hicks actually got some hits recently. He's actually starting to heat up. That 3K price tag is interesting. And the big guys, you got Stanton at 6, Judge at 5.7. It's going to be tough to fit in Musgrove and McKenzie and get these guys though. So it may be more where you're looking at this being a 2-man stack or something like that. I don't know if I'll be able to get to a full 5-man of these guys, but definitely want to take some shots here. Rizzo been hitting the ball well, even been hitting left-handers well. So
yeah, Rizzo's a guy that a lot of times lefty, these guys struggle, but Rizzo is one guy that actually, typically hits left-handed pitching pretty well. So I'm in on him too. It should be low owned. I mean, that price, it's tough. I mean, 5.7 to get to Rizzo. I will have some of him though tonight. Next game on the docket, we got the A's. We have the Cleveland baseball team. The total is 8, 3.5 for the A's, 4.5 for the Cleveland team. And I do have some interest in Cleveland here. I mean, I guess it kind of depends how many teams you're building. If you're building, 1, 2, 3 teams, maybe not. I'll be making about, I think, 20 teams tonight. So I will have some Cleveland, their team. It just seems like they get the job done. Like more times than not, they find a way to score runs in these spots. And, outside of Jose Ramirez, I mean, the core of their lineup is relatively cheap. I mean, they have, Oscar Gonzalez, 2K flat in the outfield, batting 5th. Josh Naylor hit a homer last night, 3.9K. Rosario's back in the lineup, shortstop, 3.8K. Miles Straw, 3.7. So it's one of these teams where, man, you can stack up Cleveland, still get Musgrove, and then get exposure to more big bats. So I'm in on Cleveland tonight, out on the A's. Gary, what are your thoughts here in this one?
I think we're in lockstep on this game too. I mean, man, this Andres Gimenez guy, batting in the 6 hole. He's 4K. I mean, he's been raking this season. He's got a 246 ISO, 342 WOBA on the year versus right-handed pitching. Always like Josh Naylor against a right-handed pitcher, 3,900. Definitely like that price. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would 5-man it, just like you said, but definitely like a 3-man, or maybe a Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Oscar Gonzalez, and Gimenez. That's probably my 4 favorites of the lineup. So probably a 2 or 3-man for me. Like the price. I mean, I don't know what DK is doing with Oscar Gonzalez. He just missed a homer last night. It hit off the top of the wall. Would have been a homer in, I think, every other stadium in the majors. Definitely like him a ton here. No Oakland.
I don't think they've budged his price since he's been in line. He's been 2K like every slate, right?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff. JT, thoughts here, A's Cleveland bats?
Yeah, I got the urge to play a shitty offense out of my system last night, so we won't be playing any A's here tonight. Andres Gimenez, I never miss a chance to take a shit on the Mets. Andres Gimenez was the guy that came over in the Francisco Lindor trade, so Cleveland very, very grateful to the Mets franchise. Joey Work saying that his play of the day is Oscar Gonzalez. I like that as well. And Jimenez, Jose Ramirez just continues to smash. So once you get past Paul Blackburn's been okay. But this bullpen, as we saw last night, just a developing bullpen. It's not very good. It's not going to be very good. So agree with the mini stack take on the Cleveland side. And then we talked about Tristan McKenzie. Couldn't ask for a better matchup.
All right, love it. Let's move on. We have the Blue Jays and my pitiful Tigers. The total is 9, 5.5 for the Blue Jays, 3.5 for the Tigers. No Tigers for me. I mean, just one of the worst offenses in baseball, despite having some names in the lineup. I mean, a few names, I guess, but they've been bad. Can't play the Tigers. Do have a lot of interest here in the Blue Jays. On the road, they get the full 9 innings for sure. And, a lineup that have a lot of interest. Again, though, you're paying a pretty big premium for most of the key guys, but you can make it work today. So I think, Toronto is at the top of my list, definitely a top 3 stack on the slate. It's 15 game slate. I don't think you really need to be all that concerned with ownership. So give me the Blue Jays, probably a bigger focus on the top part. Like, I don't know if I really want to play guys like Gurriel. Biggio freaking sucks. Does he still suck? Oh, he got a few hits recently. Maybe he's finding his stride, but mostly going to focus on the top portion of the Toronto lineup here tonight. JT, what are your thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, the Tigers are like that team from Bull Durham. It's where old baseball players go to die, right? I mean, that's kind of what's happening there. It's sad because there was some hope that this team would be competitive. But as I mentioned at the top, Daz Cameron, the guy who's been actually hitting the ball on the team, the only guy placed on the IL. Great matchup for Barrios. A little concerned about Barrios' home road splits and underlying metrics, but this team has been so bad. I just don't see it. On the Blue Jays side, you mentioned Kevin Biggio. We were kind of taking shots at him last week, and he did what guys do when we do that on this show. He started to pick it up, and he's actually third in weighted on base average in the split on the Blue Jays in the last week. So him, Chapman, Espinal, Kirk, I think that's a great, very contrarian stack here at the bottom of the lineup. I love Santiago Espinal. He was your Rich Parents play of the day, I think last week, one of the days last week that we did a show together. So you can't go wrong with Vlad. Can't go wrong with Bichette, Springer, all up and down this lineup. But in particular, I don't think anyone in the bottom half is going to be owned. And I like going there. And I might even have some Biggio today, just because 2.4K in this matchup. I think get a couple of hits, stolen base, make it happen.
Play him at second base, though, right? He's first base and second base eligible. We want him at second, not first.
We're not playing him at first base. We don't like him that much.
Not that much. So, yeah. Gary, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, it's hard not to have them at the top of your list of stacks today. I mean, this Rodriguez guy is awful. 360 ISO allowed to both sides of the plate. I've seen a 94-mile-an-hour exit velocity allowed to right-handed bats and a 55% fly ball rate. That is not good for a team that smashes right-handed pitching. Love this lineup top to bottom. Kevin Biggio might make an appearance later in the show.
Whoa, all right. I like to hear that, but in order for that to happen, chat, you have some work to do. I'm not putting the number back out there, but if you don't know what the number is, rewind and figure it out, because just saying it one time, JT threw it out there. You got to get there first before we get to the plays of the day.
Everyone knows their job here. Everyone knows their job.
Correct. It's mutually beneficial situation. So let's make it happen. We got the Pirates, we got the Braves, 8.5 total, 5 team total for the Braves, about 3.5 for the Pirates. Definitely not playing any Pirates bets. I mean, they're just as bad. I mean, them and the Tigers have to be 1 and 2 in terms of just shitty offenses. So no Pirates for me. I will play the Braves though. It's just a lineup that's just stacked for the most part, top to bottom. A lot of ways to stack them up, a lot of ways to get different. I will be on the Braves today, but I want to go to you first, Gary. You kind of hesitant to get on board with your Braves tonight. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, I mean, this Roansy kid is really good. I mean, I've seen him pitch a couple times, and his stuff is just filthy. His changeup is out of this world. I know the Braves have been hot. They're in Atlanta. I get it. I do prefer the Braves against a left-handed pitcher. And I just like Toronto so much today. I think I'm just going to push all my chips on the Toronto side. I mean, I cannot argue with any of these Braves bats, though. They are expensive, just like Toronto. Everybody in the top 5 is over 5K. If you were playing the Braves stacks, always play Michael Harris. He's still too cheap. But yeah, I'm not going to have any Braves tonight.
Go to the other Braves guy, JT. Are we on your Braves tonight, or are you kind of siding with Gary?
Yeah, these 15-game slates, you go through, there's so much information, there's so much data, and I didn't realize this until just now. And I was like, wait a second, I saw something earlier that stood out to me. And you know what it was, Hoop, is that he's in the exact same situation, definitely a better talent. The exact same situation that Connor Pilkington was in yesterday against a much better offense. He's a rookie coming off of an absolutely flawless ceiling game. His last game, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts against the Diamondbacks. Ooh, I am going to have to play some Braves.
I'm with you. I'm definitely more on the Brave side. I will be loading up on some Brave, not like a core type situation, but I'm gonna definitely make sure I get some exposure to the Braves team.
JT, I do have a question for you. So
yes.
he throws a slider 33% of the time. Does that change your mind?
No. It has nothing. It's all up here. It's all up here. You do that, and you throw a great game.
Do the Braves suck against sliders or something?
They're terrible against sliders, but
okay.
It hasn't mattered actually the last couple of weeks since they've gotten hot. So they may have also made an adjustment on that pitch, because that was we were taking power right-handers with sliders against this team the first 2 months of the season, and then that completely changed. I don't think it matters as much anymore. I think they've made some adjustments, which is what good organizations should do. And for me, it's all about mentality. I mean, you pitch a great game, you think you're great, and then all of a sudden your next start, you can't locate a little bit, and then boom, boom, a walk, a bloop, and a 3-run home run, and your confidence is fucked because it's the first time you're in danger in the major league. So, no, Joey, it's not Ronesy season. It's Brave season, baby.
Let's go. And you're going to the game, so you have to stack them. So you kind of have to back
Absolutely.
them. Like, you have no choice. So you're in no matter what. We got the Rangers, got the White Sox. Pitcher change here. Otto, I think, placed on the COVID. I mean, it's shocking to me that they're still putting guys on the COVID IL. Like, what the fuck world do we live in? Just crazy shit. But this Aldridge guy is starting, and I actually like that a lot better for the White Sox, because the lineup they put out is just perfect. To face a lefty. Pollock, Vaughn, Robert, Jose Abreu. My guy Berger might be like the hottest hitter in baseball. I mean, just on fire. 3 homers in his last 5 games, just tons of fantasy points. Love the White Sox today. I think they're in a phenomenal spot. The Rangers, I just don't really play the Rangers all that much, and I'm going to continue to be off of them. Gary, I'll go to you first. Thoughts here on Rangers and White Sox.
It's going to be a tough decision for me with Jake Berger. He's 2,900, and Kevin Biggio. Well, he's at second base, but there's another guy at third base that I want to play. But yeah, 2,900. He's been raking the ball. Yohan Moncada has been terrible this year. Definitely not going to play him. Grandal's also been terrible. I wouldn't fully stack the White Sox here, but I do like a couple one-offs here, 2 or 3 man. But yeah. And I do have a little bit of interest in this Texas team against Ronaldo Lopez, and then as an opener, and then the guy that's coming in after him. Marcus Simeon's heating up a little bit. Corey Seager, definitely like him. And they also have 2 min price guys. Ezekiel Duran, who's 2K, he's top prospect for them. You can play him at second base, third base. He's probably going to be in the 7 hole. And you also have Steele Walker, who's a pretty good prospect for them. Also 2K Stoneman in the outfield. So definitely not full stacking either one of these teams, but I like mini stacks on both sides, focusing on the cheaper guys.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm a little more interested in the full White Sox stack. I just like this lineup that they got. JT, any interest in Rangers or White Sox bets?
Yeah, it's now with these changes, it sets up like a bullpen game almost on both sides, which I don't love for full stacking, but I think you mentioned Jake Berger. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. A couple of guys on the Rangers that I like that have been hitting pretty well. Jonah Heim, the catcher position. Semien has been on fire. I don't think I'm going to full stack anything from this game, but I think I will have some individual pieces in my lineups.
All right, let's move on, and kind of hits a stretch of games here that I guess maybe a little bit of interest. You got the Rays, you have the Twins. Total is 9. About 4.5 for the Twins, a little less than that for the Rays. I have no interest in this game. This game is one that I'll just be totally off of. I guess like Harold Ramirez, if you're looking for a full punt, he's like 2.4K. This Vidal Brujan guy is 2.2K if you're looking for an infield punt, second base, third, shortstop eligible. Fine doing that, but I'm not paying the price tag for these Twins bats. So not much interest here for me. JT, any interest in Rays or Twins bats?
Some interest in the Tampa Bay side. Yandy Diaz, Rosarina. I didn't see the lineup. I thought he was in it. Rosarina. Yeah, Rosarina. Harold Ramirez, it's funny because for a while I was just crossing him out. And then all of a sudden he started to hit. And we've always liked him against left-handed pitching. And Smeltzer has some of the worst metrics on the slate. So I have some interest in these guys. I mean, it's always tough with Tampa Bay because, G-Man Choi isn't starting. He's probably going to pinch hit at some point. It's probably going to be for Ramirez. So Paredes even has been hitting the ball well. So I think there's some cheap bats here to make a nice 3-man if you wanted to go 5-3 with one of the more expensive teams. But I do have some interest there. I have interest in a hot Byron Buxton and a hot Carlos Correa. I don't know why, but I mean, these guys, all of a sudden they've come to life. I looked at the numbers for these guys over the past, 2 weeks. They just smacked around the Yankees pretty good. And same type of pitchers as Rasmussen. I mean, they've beaten up some really, really good pitchers. Cole last night, Jameson Taillon the other night, Gausman from Toronto over the weekend. This team has been on fire, and in particular, Luis Arraez. I mean, I don't think anyone can get this fucking guy out. So I do have interest in a little bit of a game stack here. Total has actually moved up a little. I was watching that throughout the day. So I probably have more interest than the two of you guys in this game, but I think it sets up as an interesting contrarian spot.
Gary, any interest here?
Yeah, I think I have a little more interest in the Twins, like JT. Like I said, Luis Arraez guy, we complained that why are we playing this guy? He doesn't have any power. And then boom, yesterday he hits a homer off Garrett Cole, which, spiraled Garrett Cole out of control yesterday. Byron Buxton, 4,900. I mean, he was 6K a couple months ago when the season first started. So he's getting hot. And Correa, like I said, another mini stack for me. I'm just going to push all my chips in the Toronto basket for full stack in the night. But yeah, definitely like a little bit of Minnesota.
All right, we'll keep it moving. Next game is the Orioles and Royals. Big total, 9.5, evenly split. 4 3/4 for the Orioles, 4 3/4 in terms of runs for the Royals. Bruce Zimmerman early on in the season was a guy that I was kind of avoiding. It looked solid, kind of falling apart a little bit lately. The problem is, though, like this Royals lineup is not very good. They did get the job done last night. Not sure what I'm going to do yet with the Royals. I will have some Orioles, though. I think it's a pretty good spot for them. Again, they did put up runs last night. So I'll go back to the Orioles. Not sure what I'm going to do with the Royals. We'll stick with you, Gary. What are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, this was a pretty juicy game. If you look at the pitchers and what they've been doing recently, I mean, this Heasley guy is really bad. Some of the worst metrics on the slate. Definitely have interest here. It's just hard. It's just hard for me to do it over some other spots that I like. Kansas City, like Bobby Witt's 5,200, Sal Powell's 5,200. He hasn't really been hitting the ball that well. I mean, I guess looking at his game log now, he's heated up a little bit, but he was in a little funk there. I don't think I can do it on this slate. I'm just going to cross the game off for me.
JT, what are your thoughts on the Orioles and Royals bats?
A lot of interest here for me personally. Looks like Bruce Zimmerman, I mean, if the temperature is below 60 degrees, he does pretty well, but then it's sort of like he turns into mush above that point. And very high total here. John Heasley for the Royals, one of the 3 worst pitchers on the slate. I mean, he's given up a ton of runs, and his expected ERA is still 2.5 runs higher than his ERA. So it shows me that he's going to get beat up a little bit more. And some of these guys on Baltimore have just been on fire. Mullins, Mancini, even Rooney Odor, and then Ramon Urias down at the bottom. So I have interest there. And I do have some interest, not in everybody on the Royals, but Carlos Santana, I think he hit a home run last night. He's 2.2K. Yeah. So you wanted to pay up a little bit of pitcher, even as a one-off. I think you could take a shot on him just the way he's hitting now. Like these guys against lefties, the Hunter Doziers. And I do like Sal Perez because it's games like this where nobody plays them. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's like, oh shit, look, Sal Perez has 2 home runs again. So I kind of like this spot against Zimmerman in this matchup with a high total.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely have Orioles. Like I said, undecided what I'm going to do with the Royals at this point, but JT, you're on and maybe I'll get on them as well. Next stretch of games, not very appealing, I don't think, for fantasy purposes. We have the Marlins, Astros, low total here, 7.5. The only guy I'm probably considering in this game would be Yordan Alvarez as like a one-off type thing, maybe him and Tucker, but man, I probably won't be coming here at all. JT, any interest in this game?
No, not certainly not full stacking here. You mentioned Yordan. I mean, a Yordan Tucker is where I would go, but outfield is very loaded tonight with spots where you're actually going to get into really bad bullpens after the starters. So I think I'm fine with a full fade here.
Gary?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the full fade here too. Two of probably the best real life pitchers on the slate, I would say. So yeah, no bats for me here.
Yeah, next game, Reds, Cardinals, 7.5 total. I'm passing on this one. I think it's a very easy fade, Gary.
Same.
JT?
Yeah. So much so I tried to talk myself into Andre Pallante just because the Reds have been bad on the road, but I can't do it. Like I talked about earlier, 15-game slate, you need the good arms. Andre Pallante's not one of them.
Yeah. All right. I got the Mets. We have the Angels, 8.5 total, 4.5 team total for the Mets, 4 for the Angels. Man, not a ton of interest in this one either. I mean, it kind of dies off pretty quickly in terms of, what we're looking for offensively. This game just does not have it for me. Definitely going to be a pass for me. JT?
There's one guy in this game. There's one guy in this game in particular, and it's Shohei Ohtani. Hit a home run last night.
Yeah.
You want lefties against Tyler McGill. The other lefties in this lineup just aren't doing anything. I mean, I guess Tyler Wade had a hit last night, but on the Mets side, we're not going to see the lineup for, very long. It's undetermined. I don't think you'll see Marte. There's some talk that you might see Pete Alonso back. I don't know how long Jonathan Diaz is going to go, but he's probably the worst pitcher on the slate. So I think if the Mets are going to be low on, I'm going to have some of them just because of the way they've been hitting, particularly if Alonso is back. But I mean, guys like Canha, Eduardo Escobar has been on fire. Even your guy, Thomas Nido, who I think helped you ship over the weekend.
Yeah.
So if the way I look at it, they're going to be low owned and they're facing a terrible pitcher. So I think if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I think it makes sense to just do one full stack here because once you get past Diaz, as we saw last night, not last night, a couple of nights ago, this bullpen is a little better, but the Mets, I'm going to have at least one lineup.
Yeah, it should be an unowned team. I mean, especially with the lineup not being out. So don't hate that. Rockies, Padres, 7.5 total. No Rockies, obviously, going up against the top pitcher on the slate. They're pitiful away from Coors. I mean, that trend just continues. It's like year after year. It just doesn't matter who's in the lineup when they leave Coors. They just suck. Low team total for them. Padres, I just haven't been playing the Padres much at all, without Tatis in the lineup. And it hasn't really hurt me at all. I mean, there hasn't been a slate where it's like, man, I wish I stacked the Padres tonight. So I'll continue to not play them. Can always play Manny Machado. Luke Voit is 2.6K. I mean, he's a guy that was 4K, 5K last season. 2.6K, has a lot of power. Maybe play him, but nothing in terms of the full stack for me. So yeah, this game is another fade for me offensively. Gary, thoughts here?
Yeah, I think my favorite play here, definitely not a full stack, no Colorado, obviously, but my favorite play here, I mean, Jake Cronenworth, if you look, I don't know if you've noticed, he's 4,200. You look at his game logs and it's 36, 11, 4, 25, 23. He's been hitting the ball really well lately. He would probably be my favorite player in the game, and it would just be a one-off here for me.
JT, any interest here?
Yeah, I mean, great call on Cronenworth. He's been on fire. Other than him, not a lot. I mean, Chad Kuhl has been pitching. He went through a little bit of a slump there, but he's pitched better of late. So I think it's Musgrove and Cronenworth, and that's it.
Yeah. All right, 2 more games. We're moving along quite quickly here. Full 15-game slate. We're going to get through everything, get it fully analyzed, and then we just got that. Maybe have that one more thing at the end of the show. It depends on what if you guys want it or not. We'll see when we get there. But 2 more games. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. We got the Red Sox. We got the Mariners. 8.5 total. This total actually just came down. It was sitting at 9. It came down a half a run. Not a ton of interest. I do have some interest in the Boston side. I mean, I always have a thing for picking on Marco Gonzalez. I don't know if it's right or wrong. But yeah, slight interest in the Boston guys. Arroyo, if he's leading off, is super cheap. JD Martinez, Bogart, Story, the guys that I'd kind of be targeting, but not like super excited to play the Red Sox. Again, this is a situation where if you're making 150 or 50 teams, I'd probably have some Red Sox in my lineup. JT, go to you first. Any Red Sox or Mariners for you tonight?
Kind of on the opposite. I actually like Seattle a little bit. I like the way these guys have been hitting the ball. Julio Rodriguez, Eugenio Suarez, and Cal Raleigh finally started to live up to his potential as a one-stop prospect. So you can play JP Crawford too. I mean, Rich Hill, he just pitched a game against Oakland, and I think it's a great spot to attack when these guys pitch against the Oaklands or the Detroits, because they forget what real major league hitters are like. So I do have some interest here in the Seattle side, just a mini stack, but I do like them quite a bit against Hill and the bullpen. This was the side we saw last night that is absolutely just disgusting.
Yeah. Gary, any interest for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding Boston for a while. They've been very hurtful. Their lineup has been in shambles the last few days. It looks like from the projected lineup, other than Kiki's being out, it looks like it's going to be back to somewhat normal tonight. But I just can't do it. They bit me too much in the last few days. But I do, like JT says, I do have a lot of interest here in the Seattle bats. I mean, nobody's going to play Ty France and Julio Rodriguez at over 5K. Get them at 1% ownership on this big slate. So yeah, definitely have more interest on the Seattle side than Boston.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to fully reverse course on what I just said. I don't have interest in Boston. Away from Fenway, bad ballpark. I talk about it a lot on the shows, but I just prefer them when they're at home. It just seems like they do. I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, I'm sure someone out there could dig it up rather easily, but it just seems like they do all their damage at home and they kind of suck offensively on the road, like a mini Coors situation for them. So reversing course, no Red Sox for me besides Arroyo. Arroyo's cheap. I would play him. And maybe I'll join you guys on the Mariners side. Who knows? We'll see. I do like this lineup. Yeah,
Xander's hurt too. He's nursing some type of injury.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. He was out of the lineup last night.
Yeah. All right. Last game on the slate. We have my Dodgers. We have my not my Giants, but definitely my Dodgers. 9 total here. The 5 team total for the Dodgers, 4 for the Giants. It's Friday night. Dodgers are in a pretty good spot. You guys know what I'm doing. I'm on my Dodgers tonight for sure. Gary, I toss it over to you. Any interest in these offenses?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Dodgers in this spot. I mean, the Dodgers are probably going to come in at what, 5% maybe on this huge slate. Freddie Freeman got out of his slump a little bit yesterday, 21 DraftKings points, hadn't hit a bomb yet. He's been in a little slump, but I think he can get out of that here. Definitely, and Muncy too. Muncy came out of his slump, hit a bomb yesterday, 5 RBIs. Definitely like Max Muncy here. Probably one of my favorite stacks on the slate. Probably my second full, probably right behind Toronto as a full stack here for me. And I wish these Giants bats were a little bit cheaper. Bueller just doesn't look right to me this season. I don't hate attacking him, but I don't think we need to do it. More of like a late slate play for me.
Are we 3 for 3, JT?
Yeah, definitely on the Dodgers here. Jacob Junis He's pitched really well, but he's also been really lucky. 197 batted ball in play against on the season. And this is the toughest matchup he's faced. I'm not a believer that Jake Junis is as good as he's been. I think it's more a product of who he's pitched against. And these Dodgers are getting hot again. So it's going to be now another 10 days of we're going to be playing these guys. And it started yesterday. And it's going to continue tonight. It's going to be also a little bit warmer than it usually is. Mid-60s in San Francisco. Very tasty weather for the Blue Crew.
Yep. All right, cool. So definitely we're all on the Dodgers here. Chat, you got the job done. Said 300. Didn't have to bring it up one time. You didn't have to, make me annoy you by begging for likes. You guys got to 300, 304. You can continue to hit the like. That doesn't mean we need to stop at this point, but you guys did get to the plays of the day. So congratulations for getting us there. Thought we did a good job. Got through all the pitching, got through all these offenses, big 15-game slate like we talked about. So let's go ahead and hop into the plays of the day. We're going to start with and it's two, right, JT? You said if they got to 300, we're doing 2 plays each?
They met the mark. Met the mark. It's 2.
Awesome. All right. Gary, we're going to go to you first with the groundhog play of the day ×2 edition. Who do you got for us?
I'm going to stick both with Toronto. I think 2 of these guys are going to be really low owned at the bottom part of the lineup. First, I'm going to say Santiago Espinal, 4,400. Really like the spot for him here. And then going all the way down to the 9 hole. I think Kevin Biggio is going to break out of a slump and hit us a bomb tonight. So Santiago Espinal and Kevin Biggio.
You can thank me and JT because we kind of got him off the shine a little bit. It was a couple of weeks ago. We were on the show like, man, this guy sucks, blah, blah, blah. Got a few hits. So things are trending in the right direction. So I'm gonna play it. 2.4K, second base eligible. I'm gonna be in on some Biggio with you tonight. So I do like those calls. And Espinal is my guy, dude. I love that dude. He always gets the job done. All right, we'll go to me next with the rich parents play of the day. A lot of pressure. We had Joey Gallo last night, hit 2 bombs. I think another hit as well. Out of the lineup tonight because of the lefty-lefty matchup. I'm going back to one of the originals here. I have to do it. My guy, Rowdy Tellez. I mean, he just treats us so well. He will have some ownership tonight, but it's a 15-game slate. We don't need to worry about it. Give me Rowdy Tellez. And then my second guy, have to go to my Dodgers. I'm going with my guy, Max Muncy. Was kind of slumping to start the season. Hit the DL, I believe. Came back. Was it yesterday? And had a big game. Hit a big home run. 5 RBIs, 29 fantasy points. He stays hot for us tonight. Hits another bomb. So Rowdy Tellez and Max Muncy are the rich parent plays of the day. And lastly, on Friday night, we're hopping on that Air France flight over the pond. We're hitting the Eiffel Tower with our guy, JT Hayes. Who are the Eiffel Tower plays of the day?
Yeah, it feels so good to get in the cockpit, man. I was watching some videos of flights taking off and these professional pilots. It's amazing. They don't even look out the window. They're looking at their instruments. It's the freakiest thing. I honestly wish I never watched it because I fly a lot now. That's all I'll think about as we're taking off is nobody's paying attention. But as we get on the charter, we got to go to Kansas City first. And the guy that's been surprisingly hot, guy that I thought was kind of dusty, but he's very cheap. And I think he's going to easily have a massive game tonight against John Heasley. It's Rooney Odor, second baseman, 2.9. Just love that spot for the Orioles tonight. And then Hoop, I'm glad that I heard you talk and smile and kind of get that giggly feeling about Max Muncy because I said, uh-oh, he's taking my guy. I got to figure out who the other guy is. This guy hit a home run the other night. He's starting to get hot. Like I said, we're going to play these Dodgers now for like the next 10 days. Then we'll forget about them for a week, get back on them. Cody Bellinger, play number 2, Eiffel Tower, plays of the day.
Yeah, I love that. You can pair. It's always nice when you can take a rich parent play and plug it with the Eiffel Tower play of the day. Parents out of town, maybe, you sneak into their bedroom and do some damage in there. Like, man, it's just such a good feeling. So Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy pairing is just a match made in heaven. You'd love to see it. But yeah, we got through all the games. We got through the pitching. Full slate tonight. No weather concerns, which is also very nice because there's been a lot of that lately. So let's go ahead and get out of here. We got the Up to Lock show coming up next. Make sure to tune in to that as well. But for Gary, for JT, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.